Hi Noteboard Gamers and welcome back to Noteboard Gaming. I'm your host, I'm Mark. Now I have a very special video for you today. You see, Mindclash Games have allowed me access to a very early pre-production copy of their next game, which is this game right here, which is of course Ironwood, designed by Maël Brunet and Julien Chaput. Apologies if I kind of murdered the pronunciation on those names there. So Ironwood is the latest in Mindclash's Mindclash Play series, which is kind of a lighter Mindclash game, so not quite as heavy as games like Voidfall or Trickerion, etc. And it comes to Gamefound on a pre-order basis on the 21st of May. That's right, it's a pre-order basis. You get to pre-order it on Gamefound and it's going to be delivered later this year, kind of September, October time, I think they're aiming for. Certainly by Essen is what they're hoping to get the game out to the people that pre-order it. So it's not a crowdfunding campaign per se, you're pre-ordering it via Gamefound. So what is Ironwood then? Ironwood is a highly symmetrical card-driven tactical game for 1 to 2 players. By playing action cards, you will position your warbands, initiate combat, collect crystals, apply temporary passive effects, and many, many more. You see, it is a 1 to 2 player game, that's right, it's a solo game, and the solo mode is designed by none other than the ubiquitous David Turksey. It's a Mindclash game, of course it's going to have a Turksey solo mode. So as I say, Mindclash have very kindly allowed me to have this early pre-production copy. There is a promo card set in there as well, which I will be showing you, but I want to caveat this video quite heavily and say, as it is a pre-production copy, you know, it's more or less in its final form, but there could be things in here like, you know, printing consistencies, etc. I don't know, I've not opened the cards up yet. I want us to kind of delve into the package together. So it is caveated that if you see anything that doesn't look quite right, rest assured that Mindclash will fix it. Hopefully it's all going to be perfect, and that's absolutely fantastic. Now, I will be doing a couple of videos for when it launches on Gamefound. The link will be in the description below for the campaign. I will be doing a couple of videos on how to solo. You see, there are 2 factions. There is the Ironclad and there are the Woodwalkers as well. And you can solo against either of them, so play either of them against each other from a solo perspective, and of course it is a 2-player game as well. So we'll be doing a couple of videos on exactly how those factions work from a solo perspective. So without much further ado, what I'll do is I'll drop you down to the table, we'll open up the box of Ironwood together, we'll see what's inside, and I'll unwrap the cards, etc., and show you all of that. And yeah, hopefully you're as excited about this as I am. Just that one caveat to remember, it is an early pre-production copy, so do bear that in mind when we start looking at the components. Okay, so here we have the box for Ironwood, and you can see the wonderful artwork on there. Mindclash Play down here, and designed by Maël Brunet and Julien Chaput. And he does say the artwork, it's illustrated by, I don't know if you can see that there we go, Kristina Kalida and Vio Farkas. 1 to 2 players, ages 12 plus, around about an hour per game. So if you flip over the box to the back, it shows you kind of the board set up there. So the board, I think, is around about 45.5 centimeters by 45.5 centimeters. There's a couple of player boards, there's some crystals and various tokens and cards in there as well. And it says here, the game features are its highly symmetrical gameplay, faction-specific win conditions, multi-use action cards, quick tactical combat system, and thematic component and materials. So if we go up here, it says, an eternal conflict for the land of Ironwood is raging between 2 factions, the stalwart Ironclad, mechanical inventors and settlers of the mountains, and the ferocious Woodwalkers, swift and deadly shadows of the forest. As the commander of the Ironclad, your goal is to build giant forges to swarm the land with endless armies. As the chieftain of the Woodwalkers, your mission is to locate and secure your people's ancient totems to summon the guardian of the forest that will bring the ultimate victory. So there's the suggested kind of layout of how the game should look when you put it on the table just there. And it looks absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? So let's flip open the box then. So we'll open this box. And on the inside, we have this kind of wonderful pattern on here. Now, there is a promo pack. We'll open that in a bit. And this is a promo pack. I believe promotional pack contains 6 base action cards with alternative art and holo foil. These promo cards can replace the original 6 base action cards in a copy of Ironwood. So there we go. We'll open those towards the back end of the video. Here's the rulebook. Okay, so the rulebook, I have been reading this. All right, the game came to me directly from the manufacturers. It had no cellophane on it, so of course I went in there and I had a look at the rulebook. And the rulebook is some kind of 35 pages long, but a lot of that, well, the kind of the final third of that is the solo rules. I have read through the rulebook once, lots of text, but it is kind of lots of how the game plays. It is relatively rules light. Once you kind of read through the rule book, you understand it's kind of rules light in terms of a game, and it seems to like it's going to flow very, very, very easily as well. But there's lots of illustrations. I read it through it once, and I don't think I found any reason to actually question anything while I was reading through it. So it tells you everything there. It tells you all about the components that you get as well. A general overview. There we go. Yeah, a general overview. The components that are in the game. The ironclad components, and of course the woodworker components. And then we go into the setup, and then you got the actual rules for the game itself. And as I mentioned, towards the back, you've got the 2 sets of solo rules. You've got, no, that's not it. That tells you how they get to victory. Here we go. So you've got the solo mode against the iron bot. So that's you're playing as the woodworkers there against the iron bot. And then you have the solo rules against the wooden bot. So you're playing as the ironclad against the wooden bot. But because it's highly asymmetrical, of course, the bots will play very, very, very differently. Okay, so this is for the solo game, I believe. Yeah, this is the iron bot action chart here. And down here we have the stance change condition, because in the solo game they will change their stance as the game progresses. And then you have on the back here what the various stances do and what the wooden bot action chart is as well. So you've got the iron bot action chart on the back, the wooden bot action chart in the middle, and the stances that they will take throughout the game as well from a solo perspective. We have the board. We'll come back to the board in a bit. And then we have these 2 trays. And in the 2 trays, we have the various components for both of the factions. So we'll start off with the ironclad. Now the boards are 2-sided. Okay, so we have the player side on one side, and then of course we have the AI or the bot side on the other side. And they are very, very different. So I'll just show you them side by side. Because it is highly asymmetrical, you see they are very, very different. Okay, so we talk here about the ironclad. We've got the drill track here as a drill that they have. The ironclad build forges, foundations and forges to build their machines, and they have a drill which goes around mining. They use the crystals that they're going to collect in a very different way to the woodworkers. So you have the drill track and how the drill progresses. See these little notches at the bottom? That's because you're going to put your cards there. You can play 3 of your cards per turn. And then it tells you the various phases here, okay? So you have the preparation phase. The ironclad collect 2 crystals, then they draw 2 cards, 2 of their special cards, and they remove markers on cards. When you use cards, you're going to put markers on there, and they're going to diminish over time. Then you have the action phase, and you will play 3 cards alternately, and the ironclad always goes second, so the woodworkers will always go first. And then you've got the round end phase, so you're going to move the drill up, is that the cards up or whatever, recover, discard cards to a maximum of 8 in hand, plus your base cards. There are 2 types of cards. You have your base cards and you also have your special cards. Your base cards always go back into your hands. And then they're going to recruit armies to any, I believe that's a forge, for 2 crystals each. So that's that's how you would play as them. On the bot side, it's slightly different there. Of course, the drill, they still have the drill, but it works a slightly different way. But it tells you the solo play phase there as well. So in the preparation phase, the iron bot gains 2 crystals and it draws 2 special cards. In the action phase, it's going to check the stance. Remember the stance was what I showed you. That's this here. It's going to check the stance and then perform the turn procedure, and then the round end phase, it's going to place its basic cards back into its hand, it's going to discard its special cards and recruit 5 or more crystals until there are 3 crystals left, and that's the iron bot there. let's talk about the woodwalkers then. So again, on the player side, here we have the woodwalker board. They operate differently. They don't have a drill. They have some vision cards there as well. You can see the spaces for their tokens that are going to go on there. And it tells you the preparation phase follows very similarly, should I say. But of course, the woodwalkers go first. And it's going to fade. So you fade totems basically as you pick totems up. The woodwalkers have to collect totems and get them back, and also get them out, should I say, and the ironclad have to collect crystals to build forges. But the totems, when the woodwalkers collect them, they fade over turns, so I think you get a maximum of 2 kind of rounds with them, and then they're gone and you have to find them again. And then you recruit your forces for 2 crystals each. So that is the woodwalkers player board there. And as we flip over, we have the wooden bot player board as well. They will use the vision cards. And at the beginning preparation phase, they're going to gain 1 crystal. So not the 2 crystals that the iron bot collects, but 1 crystal. And they draw 2 cards. Then the action phase, if they're disruptive, they locate a token. Then they perform the turn procedure. And then they check the stance change condition. And then the round end phase there. So you can see, with only having 2 factions, with having 2 factions, managed to keep all the information on the relevant boards really, really well laid out. So let's go into the ironclad components first, all right? Well, not just ironclad, we have some marker cubes here. These are just little white cubes that you're going to kind of put on the cards to indicate the kind of their usage on the cards, but also the bot is going to use them in certain areas as well to indicate kind of where forces have been, I think, and where totems may be, and which mountains have been investigated. So that's those there. We also have this die here. Okay, and this die is for use in the solo game, and effectively it's when there is a decision to be made. It's kind of highest odd number, highest even number, lowest odd number, and lowest even number, basically. Is that right? Highest odd, lowest odd, highest even, lowest even, basically, and that's how the die works, and it's going to be for the solo game. So let's have a look at the ironclad's particular tokens. So we have its particular faction units here. So the ironclad has its own warriors, and these are these metal coins just here. Let me just open this bag. Nice and weighty metal coins. The ironclad, of course, they got metal coins. And there we go. You can see the little delineation there, the little picture there of the ironclad forces on there, and they're really nice and chunky. Look at the thickness of those and how they feel there. So that's their kind of standard units, the ironclad's units just there. Okay, but the ironclad also have golems, and that's these here. So golems are a little bit harder to kill. I think they require 2 hit points, but there are only three golem tokens. These are bigger than the ironclad tokens, as you can see, the ironclad unit tokens, and these are their golems basically. And again, really nice thickness on those. And just look again at the picture that's on there. There we go. You can see there's a clear differentiation between the ironclad tokens and the golem tokens. Okay, and then we have these, which are their foundations and their forges. Before they can build forges, they have to build foundations. Okay, so again, we have a number of these tokens. We have the foundation side, and then we have the forge side. I believe that's the right way, yeah. So we have the foundation side there. If you live in England and you've seen a 50p piece, then there we go. You know exactly what that looks like. It looks like a bit like a 50p piece. And on the other side, you have the forges. So we have foundations and forges. Again, really, really nice and weighty. Before we get to their cards, they also have this, which is the drill. I spoke about the drill. And that's the drill. It's a non-combat piece, and it's going to move around the board basically, and it's going to start mining crystals for the ironclad, and then it's going to load it. You can load the drill up with crystals and hopefully get them back. But of course, as the woodwalkers, your aim is to go in and try and not necessarily destroy this, but try and steal the crystals from the drill itself. And again, it's a nice weighty metal piece. So as I say, each faction is asymmetrical. They have their own set of cards. So what we'll do is we will open the ironclad's cards now. I say I've not seen these. It's the first time I'm seeing this. And we'll have a look at their various cards. So as we look at the artwork on here, fantastic. As we look at the cards, there are two types of cards that you will see. There's the one with the darker kind of banner across the top. And these are the basic cards. You will always have these in your hand. When you play them, at the end of the round, they're going to come back to your hand. And the Ironclad's basic cards are Reinforcement, Conquest, and Expansion. And if we look down here, we have a number of symbols on the kind of little banner coming down here. The top symbol is the combat value, the middle symbol is the defense value, and the bottom symbol is the dominance value, and that comes into play with combat, basically in determining who's won a fight or not, or a particular combat or not. And you can see they've all got kind of multi-use on here, so you can resolve one, spend one, so you resolve any one of these on this particular reinforcement one, spend a crystal to recruit one troop, to any, I think that's Forge, or Foundation and Forge, then move a warband. So moving, you either move individual warriors or you move warbands, which is groups of them. And you can move any or all of the group if you want. Or you can spend 5 crystals to build, or you can attack, and this combat has +1. You can see that that particular card has none. You're going to wager cards, basically, in the game to try and defeat your opponents. So we have, look at the artwork on here. We have Reinforcement, Conquest, and Expansion. So those are the basic cards, as I say. And we know in the promo pack, we've got some holofoil cards to replace those. Then we have the special cards. And these are the ones with lighter on here. Now, these are the ones that you're going to draw into your hand. And then when you've used them, they will go into a discard pile. Of course, if you then go through that discard pile, you go through all your cards, you then shuffle that discard pile and draw from that again. So these are kind of the real way that you will kind of win the game. So we have Preposterous Settlements, Mobilization, Heavy Industry, Conscription, Ceasefire. Look at this, it's got an attack combat value of 2 and then a dominance value of 3 here. You're going to burn a special card. You can see it's got the little light banner on there to draw 2 more special cards and move the drill. And then this round, at the start of the next battle, the defender may recruit one of their troops or one of the Ironclad to any one of their warbands, basically. So if I'm the defender, then as the Ironclad, then I would get to recruit a troop into a particular warband. Or if the Woodwalkers are the defender when I'm playing this card, then they would get to recruit a troop into their particular warband. We have Steady March, Choking Fumes, Makeshift Golem, remove one, here we go. So you're going to remove 1 troop and then recruit a golem to the same warband, and then you get to move a warband. Not necessarily that warband, you can move different warbands. Treasure of the Deep, Interrogation, Forge Master's Gift, Tunneling. So you're going to move a warband and then move the drill 2 times. Strength in Numbers, Mountain Scouts, Deep Mine Expedition. Expedition. I think this means it's ongoing. So normally, what would happen is you would use the card and then discard it, but I believe that means it's ongoing. And here we go. So you recruit a troop into any forge and then mark 2 this card. So you're going to put 2 on there. Obviously, I'm talked about in the rounds, you remove markers. Once those markers have gone, then that's when the card is done. The first time each round the drill is moved, place 1 extra crystal on the drill's kind of transport area, and then each combat +1 shield only if the drill is present. So this is about positioning the drill, loading it up with extra crystals, but positioning it so wherever it's present, it's going to add to the combat there. This card has got 2 combat strength, a defensive 1, and a dominance of 1 as well. Makeshift Golem, we've already done. Bombardment, playable only to be waged in combat. So as I mentioned, you wage cards. These are cards that you're going to play face down. Certainly in a 2-player game, and then you flip them up and you would wage those cards. And when waged in combat, the dominance of the opposing, so the Woodwalkers, is 0. So it's kind of a powerful card, that. Volcano Cannons, Careful Planning, War Machine. You're going to attack, and then you're going to remove 3 Woodwalkers from the attacked Woodwalker warband. Look at that, an attack of 2 and a dominance of 3. Steady March, Engineer's Knack, No Mercy, Surveillance Telescope, glowing forges, you're going to move the drill, then you're going to burn a special card to draw 2 special cards and gain 2 crystals. Yes, you need to gain crystals. Both sides need to gain the crystals. We've got entrenchment, mobilization, deceptive bait, Fists of Iron. Sounds great, that, doesn't it? So let's have a look at this particular card. So Fists of Iron has a combat strength of 1, it has a defense value of 2, and it also has a dominance value of 2. And it says you're going to attack one Woodwalker warband of 2 or more troops, and this combat plus 1 for dominance. And then if you win, you get to recruit a golem to a forge. We have a forward operating fort. We have tunneling. We have minecarts. We have distraction, golem deployment, and battleborn. And this has a 0 combat strength. It has 1 defense, but it has a dominance of 4. You're going to resolve one of these. Recruit any 2 troops to any forge. 2 troops to any forge, and then draw 1 special card and attack. And if you're victorious, you're going to recruit another troop to a forge. That allows you to kind of keep recruiting there. So those are the special cards, and as I mentioned, you've also got your basic cards as well. The special cards you're going to use, they're going to get discarded. Basic cards are going to always come back into your hand, and your maximum hand size is always going to be 8. So that is what you can see there for the ironclad for the game. So I'll just put these bits away so I don't lose them, and then what we'll do is we will have a look at the Woodwalkers and see what you get in the game for the Woodwalkers. Okay, so let's spin it round and see what we get in the other side of the box for the Woodwalkers. Well, first of all, we have a bag of crystals, and these are the crystals that both factions are fighting over. These beautiful kind of aquamarine blue, not aquamarine, but kind of sea blue there, if you like, for the crystals. Okay, so we'll put them back in the bag. Then we have the tokens for the Woodwalkers. So we have their troops. Now remember that the Ironclad's got golems, it's got its own troops, and it's got its forges, etc. The Woodwalkers are more simple folk. They don't need all that fancy stuff. They've got these wonderful wooden tokens because they're the Woodwalkers. And there we go. We can see those wooden tokens there with the Woodwalker crest on there as well. They feel really nice and chunky components, and I think that's really important. And here we have the totems. So the aim for the Woodwalkers is to collect 3 of these totems, but they are going to fade over time. So this is their kind of non-faded side. So when you first pick a totem up, when you get one, discover one in the mountain, should I say, you're going to get this, and it's going to be on that side. The aim is, I believe, to get to the outer forests, effectively. Then what will happen is at the end of the round, it will move to the faded side. Then what happened is at the end of that round, it'll come off the board altogether. And there are 5 totem tokens there. I believe in terms of components for the Woodwalkers, that's it. So the next thing is the vision cards. Now these vision cards are effectively how the Woodwalkers find the totems. They're going to point to certain areas on the map, certain mountains on the map that they've got to go to get the totems, and these are obviously areas which are controlled by the Ironclad. So you will kind of do this to discover where the totems are, and then you will go and try and get the totems and get them where you need to be. So as I mentioned earlier, these go on a very special place on the Woodwalkers board, which is just there, and that's how you discover the totems. And let's look at the various areas on the map. We have Lithimar, is that right? Lithimar, Paladimor, Aurea, Zinker, Kuprumis, Argentima, Chromia, and Plumbarum as well. And there we go, Cobaltis, Gallimar, and back to Lithimor. So it tells you on the map where to look for these particular ones as well on the map as you look for them. But those are the vision cards. We've also got, of course, a Ironclad turn procedure there, and which tells you kind of how to play as the Ironclad. And I can imagine that there's obviously a Woodwalker one somewhere as well. There we go. Okay, now we're going to go to the Woodwalker's actual cards. Here we go. I mean, that turn procedure is also obviously on the boards as well. So, you know, it's not necessarily so. So again, pretty much like the Ironclad, the Woodwalkers have their base cards, they have Visions, they have Swift Strike, and they have Ransack. Remember, these are the cards. They've got the darker banner at the top and the star on there, which means they always go back into your hand. So let's look at Visions. You're going to draw a special card. It's got a little white symbol on there. You're going to resolve one of these, draw a vision card, and then discover. That one is to move 2 of your troops, attack, and if you're victorious, gain a crystal. That was Swift Strike. And Ransack is resolve 1 or spend 2 to resolve 2. So it's a multi-use card here. You can see it's got a combat value of 1, a defense value of 1, and a dominance value of 0. And here we go. So you're going to move 5 of your warbands. Not your warbands, your troops. You're going to attack Ferrum, which is the central on the map. And then if you win, you're going to steal half of all of the crystals, which I think is the crystals on the drill itself. Okay, and then we look at their special cards. Okay, so we've got Ambush, Canopy Cover, Hunter's Instinct, Lurking Shadows. Again, the artwork is just sublime on this. Meditation, Children of the Forest. So let's have a look at this one. This says an attack value of 1, a defense value of 2, and a dominance value of 2 as well. You can recruit 2 troops to any outer forest. So when I show you the board, you'll see the inner and the outer forest. If the card is burned, spend 1 crystal to recruit 1 troop to any outer forest. We've got Secrets of Ferrum, Uniting the Tribes, Hidden Supplies, Paralyzing Spirit, Soul Blast, Pilfered Crystals, Double Strike. This sounds important, doesn't it? Double Strike. Look at this already. You've got an attack value of 3. You've got a defense value of 0. You've got a dominance value of 0 as well. And it's an attack card just here. Victory. Attack again with any warband with a +1 defense and a +1 dominance as well. So that's kind of, you know, allowing you to hit twice. Call of the Mountain. Battle Cry. Mystic Fog. Blazing Spirit. Feral Spirit. Uprising, Wrath of the Guardian. Let's have a look at this then. Okay, so Wrath of the Guardian has got an attack value of 3, again a 0 defense and a 0 dominance. So you're going to mark this card with 1 token and then 1 for each secured totem. And then you choose 1 before each combat. You either add 1 to the attack value or add 1 to the defense value. I say it's a marked card. You're going to remove marks as the game progresses at the end of each round. So you're only going to have that for a couple of rounds. Obviously, knowing when to play it is important. Dashing Spirits, Lurking Shadows, Shaman's Guidance, Revelations, Galvanizing Charge, Canopy Cover. You're going to move 4 of your troops with Canopy Cover. It's got an attack value, a combat value of 2, defense value of 0, a dominance value of 3. 4 of your troops. You're going to play a basic card, and no totems can be moved during this turn. So you've got to really know that you want to actually play that. You're hiding in the trees. You don't want them to see you. You're going to attack them, but you're not going to be able to move. Mind Control, Flurry of Arrows, Calm Before the Storm, Raid on Ferrum, Nature's Aid, an attack value, a combat value of 2, a defense value of 0, a dominance value of 3. You're going to remove 1 of the enemy troops, draw 2 of your special cards, and then burn a special card. So that's a good way of getting new cards in. Feral Spirit, this is quite a good one here if you look. It's got a combat value of 1, a defense value of 2, a dominance value of 2, draw 2, then burn 1 special cards, and you attack, and if you are victorious, you get to draw a vision card then by the looks of it. We have Cursed Spirit, Galvanizing Charge again, and then Whispers of the Ancients. Let's look at this one. 1 combat value, 2 defense value, 2 dominance value. That wonderful artwork. You're going to spend a crystal to draw 2 vision cards, then burn a vision card. You're going to move 1 warband, 1 of the enemy's warbands, and 3 of your troops. Okay, so that is what the cards are available for, of course, Ironclad, Ironwood, Ironclad's a troop, for Ironwood. But what we haven't seen so far is, of course, the board itself. So let me move everything out of the way and I will show you the board itself now. So here we see the board laid out. Now the board is 2-sided. This is for the 2-player game. I will flip it over shortly and I will show you what's on the board for the solo game over there. So out on the outside here, you've got the outside forest, and that's where you're going to try and get your totems to. And then you have your inner forest just here. Same with the Ironclad. You've got your kind of inner areas here, the towns and the where you're going to inner mountains, should I say. Then you have your outer mountains around the ridge there. The Ironclad will travel along these paths to all of these different areas, basically. Whereas, so these mountain ridges. Whereas the Woodwalkers, you can see across a lot of these paths, there's a tree line that goes there. The Woodwalkers will go from one to the next one, so adjacent. What they won't be able to do here, of course, is go from this one to there, because there's no direct path. You always move to the adjacent. So they could go there, they could go there, and then from there they could go there, etc. Yada yada yada. Ferrum is kind of the Ironclad's central stronghold, if you like. That's kind of their mainstay, their main base, just there. So as I say, the aim is for the Woodwalkers is to try and get 3 totems and get them to the outside edges, and I believe for the aim for the Ironclad is to build 3 forges on the outer mountains. Now remember, they have to build foundations first, and then they have to build forges on top of that, or convert them to forges, so they need crystals to be able to do that. And the aim for the Woodwalkers, as I say, is to collect 3 totems and take them to the outer forest as well. So here we can see the board, and I'll just zoom into some of the artwork on the board. There we go. You can see Ferrum in the middle. You can see here we have the inner forest just here next to Zinka. You've got a path going there from this forest to there. So as I mentioned earlier, that's how the Woodwalkers would travel, and then the Ironclad would travel along these mountain ranges to the next position. So that is the 2-player board. Let's flip it over. I'll show you the solo board. So the solo board looks similar, but there are a couple of key differences. First of all, you can tell down here with these 2 symbols, which is the iron bot and the wooden bot, there is the solo board. But you can see it's got these triangles here, basically. The ones in beige are obviously for the Woodwalkers, and the ones in black are for the Ironclad. And they've got numbers on there, and they are identifying numbers, so you know what's happening in terms of how the bots move. So although the boards look very, very similar, Mindclash have created a double sideboard, so there's no confusion when you're playing against either the iron bot or the wooden bot about where they're going to go and what they're going to do. And as I say, you can play against both of those bots. So that's the board. I say around about, I think it's about 45.5 by 45.5 centimeters. So it's not a massive board. You've seen the size of the player boards as well, which aren't massive. It means it's a game that 2 people can play without taking up a massive amount of table space. So that's everything you get in the game itself. Now what we'll do now is we'll have a look at this promo pack. I've not opened this promo pack at all, and I say these are the holofoil cards that are going to replace the basic cards in each pack. For each faction. So here we go. I'm doing it. I'm ripping it. Oh man, imagine I could have sold this on eBay. Okay, so let me just open this nice and gentle without knocking the camera. Here we go. Wow, really nice. Really, really, really nice. So I don't know if you can see the holofoil on there. This looks fantastic. I'd like to see the full deck of cards like this. So we have, of course, the cards for the Ironclad first, and these are exactly the same as the basic cards that are in the game, but except they've got the holofoil on there, which is really, really nice. So we have Vandalar's Support, we have Dorniller's War, and we have Ilke's Strategy. Oh, the replacements are there, maybe. Then we have Derlin's Revelation, Anian's Aim, and we have Gorlian's Hunt. Look at those. So let's just go through them one by one. There we go. You can see the holofoil working on there. They feel and look really, really nice. Now this is a game, I think, you're probably going to want to sleeve this game. Given the artwork on the cards, given the fact that the cards are very, very, very important to how the game plays, and certainly if you've got the holo cards as well, you're certainly going to want to sleeve these cards to try and protect them, because you're going to be shuffling not necessarily the basic cards, but you're going to be shuffling the special cards quite frequently as you play a number of games of Ironwood. And that's everything that you can see that you get in the box for Ironwood, or certainly that I got in the box of the early pre-production copy. And there we go. That's everything I've got so far for Ironwood from Mindclash Games. As I say, it comes to Gamefound on a pre-order basis on the 21st of May. The link will be in the description below, and it will be delivered later this year. This looks fantastic. I really can't wait to jump into this solo and with other players. In fact, a little bit later this week, I've got Mike Dennis coming around to my house from Ready Steady Play, and I'm going to play my first few games, I should hope, of Ironwood with 2 players, and then I'm going to jump into the solo and learn the solo before I do the videos. Everything looks fantastic, from the cards, from the production quality of all the tokens, etc. And certainly these holo promo cards as well look absolutely great. And I'm really, really looking forward to kind of jumping into the game and possibly losing. Not possibly, definitely losing, because I'm universally bad at board games. I know. But I'm really looking forward to this. I think what Mindclash have created here, by the looks of it, is a really effective tactical game for 1 to 2 players with a rule set that reads really straightforward, but the real depth in the real kind of strategy comes of how you use your cards, what you're doing with your cards, when it's best to play the cards, and of course, understanding not just your cards, but what potentially could your opponent play as well. So it's one of those games that will grow and grow the more that you play it. So as I say, if that looks of interest to you, looks fantastic to you, then do check out when it launches on Gamefound on a pre-order basis on the 21st of May. And the final caveat again, I'm just going to say it again, it is a pre-production copy. It's not necessarily the final copy, but from what I've seen here, everything looks absolutely tip-top, and I'm really looking forward to getting this to the table. So watch out for my solo videos coming out around about the time of the campaign, where I'll be showing you how to play solo against both of the bots, as well as a preview video as well. My name's Mark, this is Not Board Gaming. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, check out our other videos, and one final thought: if you can't find anyone to play with, there's nothing wrong with playing with yourselves. Until next time, bye bye.